What's up, Pod Pals? It is your buddy Adam, and you are checking out Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. This is a special edition of the podcast audit. I've got my friends TH and Jessica from the Divorce Etc. podcast. These are a couple of my favorite peeps. They are clients, they are friends, and I'm excited to dive in and get a little caught up on what they've been working on lately and see if we can't give them some advice to go to the next level. So TH, Jess, how's it going?
Very good. Thank you.
Happy to see you, Adam.
Yes. Well, this is the reason, if you have been thinking, everybody that's listening out there, if you've been thinking about doing a podcast audit, you need to sign up because there is a wait. Like TH signed up before they hired me as a coach. And then they've already gone through my complete coaching program, multi-weeks, and now they're on the podcast audit. So that you got to get signed up. That way you can get in sooner rather than later. But I'm really excited to be here. I know that with our coaching, we had mapped out an event, a membership style event. So first, I would love to get an update on that, and then we can look at some things moving forward. So TH, why don't you kick it off and just give us a little update on what we mapped out and then how things went that initial that maiden voyage of your event.
So we're having one event a month called the X Experts Open House. We are the X Experts, and Divorce Etc. is the title of our podcast. So the open house focuses on a different topic each month. So basically answering a specific question related to divorce. So last month it was, what kind of divorce should I get? Did you know that when you want to get a divorce, it's not just, I want a divorce. You actually have a whole menu of options now and different directions that you can go in when you want a divorce. So we had 3 of our X experts, which are industry professionals to help you get through the process, as guests, and Jessica moderated the event. It was great. It was very engaging. We had to actually go an extra 15 minutes because the questions kept coming in and we felt badly leaving people hanging without getting their questions answered. Our next one is in 2 weeks, and it's how do I pay for my divorce? So great. I'm getting a divorce. This is the kind I'm getting. Now, how am I going to pay for it? So again, we will have a panel of experts. It's all virtual, so anybody can join. You can find it on our website. So here's my shameless plug at experts.com. And it's about an hour and a half. And literally, to get these experts on their own is going to cost you hundreds of dollars. And we have brought 3 of them together for you for under $50. Right. So this is just a great opportunity. You're definitely going to learn something. And like I said, just ask your question and it will be answered in real time. So that's what we've been working on.
So that was a big part of what we worked on with our coaching, was getting you a way to monetize that isn't an affiliate link, that isn't some sort of dumb sponsorship where you're gonna get $1 a month,
$2.
Yeah. Paying for half a gallon of gas or whatever.
Right.
So that was a big thing. So Jess, how did you feel about the initial event? As far as, it sounds like you got some really great engagement. If people are staying in,
we did
questions.
We were really proud of ourselves and really excited about how it went. The experts that we had asked to join are renowned in their fields. We had amazing lawyers talking about the 3 different types of divorce that someone can get. And it was very engaging. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we would love to sell more tickets. But we were happy that we sold tickets. And we also did with one of the experts, a giveaway of tickets because she has a huge following. And I think that we had gotten a couple more registrations after that. So we're kind of learning sort of techniques and things that we can do to be able to garner more interest. And we're in the midst of setting up. Our next one is on July 27th. And like Tate said, it's how to pay for your divorce. So we know that we need to get ahead of our schedule for the next, out through the end of 2022. I think we'll learn from every event. But when we were finished, we were the adrenaline was pumping. We were totally psyched. We felt like we did a really good job. And we're glad that we did it. like we'd only had one event prior to that, a live event of that type, a number of months back. And so the idea of us just actually getting started and doing it every month,
just getting it done
without fail.
We have lots of ideas, but
Exactly.
actually implementing it, following through, learning from it, and now
we felt like it really worked.
Yeah. And it's got to be some self-validation because you had people pay, you had people show up, we always want more. Like that's always the thing. But like if you had done it and everyone's like, this was terrible, never do this again, then that's a total, but then you can move on to the next idea. But now we found a winner idea. We know it's impactful. Like you guys both said, we just make tweaks after the next one. Okay, this worked. This could be better. Tweak. Let's do the next one and keep doing that. And 3, 4, 5, months down the road, you're going to have this sucker dialed in tight.
Hopefully.
And then all you go, as it grows a little bit by little bit, then you feel like supremely confident about it. And you go, okay, let's really ramp up our marketing for this thing because it's a winner. And that's kind of the natural progression we all need to go through, where especially if you're doing a volume type offer, like a membership, an event, a workshop, where you need butts in seats to have an actual thing. Sometimes we feel the pressure of that. And like I said, there's never as many people as we had hoped would show up, and those initial few ones, especially. But you got to start somewhere. You got to try, you got to learn, you got to validate. So it sounds like we can check off the validation box. This was good for you. This was good for them. The engagement was good. We know it, your speakers seem to enjoy it, or, to the point where they're, bringing, really great content, things like that. So I feel like this was a huge amount of validation for you all. And then we kind of look forward from there. So I'm interested, like, what do you think you want to tweak moving forward? Like what's something that you think like, okay, this could have been a little bit better. Maybe we tweak in this position, or like you said, figuring out how to get your, the speakers to share it out a little bit more, doing the giveaway, things like that. So what's something that we want to bring to the next one? Jess, you start on this one.
I think that getting people to be able to share a little bit more and helping us to raise the awareness for it, and also asking other of our experts community to also share the event, even if they're not part of it. So we were out in person yesterday with one of our experts who was not part of the past event and is not part of this coming event, but was like, send me the information for it and I'll put it out there also, and I'll help you guys promote it. So I think we need to be a little bit better about that. And then also we always have a million things on our task list, but just like I said, getting ahead and being able to plan things out more in the future, and having that set, and at least having the experts confirm, so we know like who are going to be the guests for the September event, who are going to be the guests for the October event, so we can get started on all of that promotion stuff sooner.
Okay. So I love both of those points. I think when it comes to getting the, all of your sphere of influence to promote this thing, definitely get in front of that. Like your past guests, anybody that could potentially be one of your special guest speakers,
right?
Like make it a thing and be like, hey, you're on our wish list to have speak at a future event. We'd love for you to be an affiliate. Hook them up with a really great affiliate comp, because these are people that you'll be out there reaching via their network that you probably never would have been able to reach otherwise. So I usually go 50 to 80% them on the kickback, just because it's all kind of bonus money for you all. And this is just going to get people to what's called a tripwire payment, where it's a low cost. They get used to paying you money. And now when you have a mastermind or a higher ticket offer, you've already got them over that initial. The hardest part is just earning that first dollar. Once you've earned that, now they've experienced you from a paid perspective. And I think that it'll be much easier to convert those people up the channel. Now, on content wise, once you start mapping these things out in advance, now that we know it's a winner and we're going to just continue to develop, look at your podcast content that you're putting out and go, how can we marry that to the event topic? So if your topic is the next one's how to pay for a divorce.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it may be a little bit too short of notice for that, but like look at the August, look at the September, whatever that topic is, the 2 or 3 episodes leading up to that, at least one episode, has got to be focused on that topic. It's got to be. If it's you all talking about it, or if it's one of the speakers doing a little appetizer episode for the event, and then you can prime people because their ears are going to perk up, and then you sponsor that episode with, here's how you get signed up. So-and-so is going to be there talking. So I would start to, the more booked out you get as far as the topics go and out in advance, start marrying your content with your show in alignment with the workshop topic. Does that make sense?
How far in advance of the workshop would you do the episode that's married to that topic?
I mean, if you're open, it depends on your open cart. Like if it's going to be always open, or if it's going to be a 2-week open cart or whatever. But like, I think those last 2 weeks, those last 14 days before the event happens, I would be dialed in. Or because you're doing these monthly. Now, somebody like Amy Porterfield, she does like 1 offer per quarter or 2 or 3 per year. And she'll spend 90 days ramping up on that topic.
Right. But her offers are also $5,000.
And they're giant. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the difference. I just wanted to make sure, just for future reference point, if you have a bigger offer, you can spend a longer time ramping up. But I think if you give it 2 solid weeks of content to kind of nudge towards that, maybe it's one of the guest speakers coming on and one of them is a solo episode with you guys. And it's just appetizer episodes. It's just like, and if you like this, you will freaking love the workshop. That you got to be there. And it's less than $50. You could do some different, giveaways with them or whatever, but I don't want to overcomplicate. I think that's a solid technique that we could use moving forward. Makes sense?
Yes.
Can we also, we just have so much content and so much stuff that was already recorded. I'm sure that we have podcasts that touch on this in one way or another that we can say, we want you guys to send in questions. I'm sure you don't even know where to begin, but start listening to these podcasts, to help, get you thinking about, important parts about your divorce and how you're going to pay for it and things you need to know. Or what we haven't done that, but we do have a newsletter that goes out and we're almost approaching 2 weeks. So we can certainly, we sent out a dedicated promo newsletter just for the event. Everything you need to know, who our experts are. We can say which podcast they've been featured in already. But Jessica and I, for both of our past events, did a mini cast where it's just the two of us talking about, this is what we have coming up. You guys have to listen. This is why. So like you're talking about that appetizer, we just really go on and kind of talk about what we learned from these experts.
It's almost like a 3-minute commercial. Just
it's right. It's a commercial
aired as a
out there
standalone episode,
and we've gotten hundreds of listens for each of those like pre-event mini casts.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're translating into people buying the ticket.
Well, not that many. Not hundreds.
No, not that many. But I will say just what Jessica said before. The people who attended the event, even if we had a ton of tickets sold, you could have radio silence in your event. Mm-hmm. So for me, the best thing was that the quality of the people who were attending was everything. I mean, they were actually there for a purpose. They weren't just cooking dinner and listening, partly while they're reading their kiddo's story. They were fully engaged. And so for me, that was, really the best part of that event.
Now, something you could consider is reaching back out. I'm sure you've already reached back out to them just to kind of pick their brain on what they liked and all that stuff.
That feedback forms. Yeah.
Yeah. But you could also reach back out and go, hey, the next one is on July, whatever. And would you like to be a promotion partner? We're going to kick you back a 50% commission on any tickets that you sell.
The attendees?
Yes. Yes. So the attendees that attended the last one, they get the opportunity, and like they're probably in, I don't know. I would assume some of them are in like support groups, or, they are in Facebook groups. They're in communities, and they can go out and say, hey, I attended the last one. It was really good. And use my link if you want to go to the next one and be my guest. And maybe they even get a little discount code or something like that, or a bonus. You don't, with the disc, it doesn't always have to be a discount. It could be an extra, like we had talked about doing like an after party, a VIP thing. If you buy one, if you use my code, you're going to get invited to the after party or whatever, and get them out there working the streets for you to working. I shouldn't have said that. Working.
In the best
want
way,
people out
most
there working
honest
the
way
streets.
possible.
That came out wrong. My friend Gail and Christina, I do this clubhouse room, and they're always talking about working the clubhouse streets, and that's where that comes from. So totally different
Sure.
phrase. So you want them out there. Yeah, you guys are like the podcast pimps. They're out there working the streets for you.
Oh, so now you're taking it to a new level.
Yeah. So I want you back to affiliates. I
Yes.
want you to incentivize them. Like, they're already probably super fans. Let's just fuel that fire and get them out there networking where they are already at and going, hey, let's get you going. And we'll reward you handsomely, because if they could turn into another person, then they both attend the next one. And you could even tell them, like, hey, you could either get this in affiliate commission, or if you get 2 people, then your ticket's free to the next one.
Right. That's what I would do. Your ticket's free if you bring in a certain number of people.
So
yeah.
That I think we just have to think about these simple techniques to be able to get, build off of the momentum, like the easy low hanging fruit promo ideas. So I think that with the content alignment, with getting the people that have already been there the opportunity to be an affiliate and make it easy for them. Maybe you've got like a little special live cast you do, and they can, funnel people into that or something like that. But I think that would be a solid next step promo wise. Does that make sense?
That's a great idea.
Those are great ideas.
All right, cool. So I want to know, like, let's paint the next 6-month picture. So what's the back half of 2022? If that all goes really, really well for you both, like, what are we looking like heading into 2023, business wise, content wise? I want to know kind of next step goals now that we're getting some traction with some of this business stuff. So TH, you kick it off on this one.
You have to sign a non-disclosure.
Well, just don't say too much.
Don't say too much. But give me some basics.
Corporate stuff.
Creating a customized program with experts to help other people. So it could be a flat rate purchase package that's fresh and new. It's not something that someone just, you just downloaded, who knows how long it's been out there. And it would include sessions with the 2 of us, which we have talked about with you, our inner circle sessions that we do every other week, as well as events, but private events. And then whoever buys the package actually starts to build their own library related to divorce. And it would be open to everybody, who they service. So that's all I can really say about that. But it's basically what we're doing now for the larger population. But we're going to take what we learned from you by doing the superfan journey and kind of seeing where people are at, and then customizing a package based on where those people are so that it's relevant to them. And then it's worth it for someone to buy our package because we're saying things that are relevant to people that they work with. Yeah.
I'm just begging you 2 women to like get into that consulting game, because it's just like what you just described. It's needed. You are like in the trenches in this space. And I know the first time we talked, Jess is like, we are not doing coaching. And like, that was like hard, like pounding her fist.
We do coaching every time we speak to people.
Yeah.
You're
influencers.
The woman who she said that we spoke with yesterday doesn't have a license or certification or anything else. She was actually an opera singer and kind of fell into being a relationship expert. But she was always helping friends. And then she's like, wait a second, I'm really good at this. And so we're learning that you don't need that certification to be taken seriously and to be heard and to be valued and validated. So we are warming up to it. We just wish there was a word other than coaching.
Consulting. Consulting is the best term.
That we could embrace around experts.
Right.
Yeah. I know your audience will pay a higher ticket price for some either small group or, whatever consulting time with you 2. And like you said, you can customize it. I just know this is going to be a high converting offer for you 2 and the way that you're out there helping people. So I'm very happy about that. That makes me very, very happy as a coach.
I think the real struggle is still converting. I think that our newsletter signups are coming from our promo mid-roll in our podcast, because that's the only thing that's been consistent and pushing, and we're getting signups like every day. I would love more direction on how to really make them buy into an event. I mean, if they're listening to the podcast and they're signing up for a newsletter, what are we missing to get them to sign up for the event? Like, that's real time. You're not just receiving information. You get to push your questions out there and get information that's for you, not just for, the audience at large.
And you're talking about the paid event, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a common question or confusion point that a lot of podcasters have. And really, to me, it comes down to audience activation. That's like that third missing ingredient. Because when we did, our coaching package, we mapped out your ideal listener journey, and you guys did a freaking phenomenal job. We had 7 phases, right? Yeah. And that was the most phases that any of my clients have ever mapped out. So congrats, you have the record. But it's really well done. Like, it's really, really well done. And divorce is so freaking emotional and tricky and complex. And I could see, like, from point A to point B all the way down to the 7th phase, like, this really makes sense. And we can pinpoint where people are at, why they're there, and how to get to the next phase. So we got that. Your content is amazing. And now I think in your offer, we've got traction there. So the bridge to get from the content, the average Joe and Jane participant in the show, into actually purchasing your offers, your workshop, your consulting. So we need a little bit of activation. And I still think that's, like, for you two, I think you'll have a really high conversion rate if you can do your own version of what I'm doing with the podcast audits, like what we're doing here, where you're
right. I think we're nervous because people join the inner circle because it's intimate and private. For us to broadcast it on a podcast platform, I feel like, I'm not even, that's what's holding us back. And maybe we just need to ask people in our inner circle if they would be interested and just see what they say. I mean, if 1 or 2 are interested, then, great.
Yeah.
But
there's some different approaches you could take. Like, you could frame it and use it as just purely analysis of, this is a discovery session to figure out where you're at in our process. And we're just going to identify it. We're not going to get into all the things. We're not going to get into why, all the emotional stuff that happens on the back end with the workshops, with the coaching and things like that. But it could just be like, let's figure out where you're at. Let's talk about what you've overcome with the previous phases, and then give them a preview of where the next phase is. And then you're like, here's what it's almost like mapping out a travel destination, and it's like, you've traveled this far. So let's, fist bump and high five over that.
Yeah.
Here's where you're at. Here's why you're at. Here are the symptoms you're most likely experiencing. Yeah. They'll be nodding their head in agreement, because, like, that's how it is when we do this sort of thing. And then you go, here's what we need to do to get to the next zone here. And here's what you can expect there. So, and I think that's going to be really good content. And then you can just kind of see where they want to take it. If they open up, then you keep going with it. And maybe you can have a little pre-chat or a form that's filled out ahead of time to see. Like, I would experiment with this and maybe even just do a test one that's not live, that's not anything, with an inner circle member, just to see what kind of content comes out of it. Because I think that they'll be more excited to do this than you think they will. And I think that you will be surprised about how cool this content is. Like, I could do what we're doing right here all damn day. Like, this is, and I don't have to plan anything. You guys are steering the boat here. And it's kind of like wherever you want. I'm curious about a few things. But it's the best content I've got on my show, and it's expert positioning. Right. And I think that's something that we're missing in your content. We could have a little bit more expert positioning that will get your audience viewing you as an expert, so
As
that when
the
you have an
expert.
offer, they're like, these are the people that, that are my consultants.
I
Don't call
think
them a
I
coach.
think it could definitely work with people who are already divorced.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find people who are willing to kind of talk about exactly what they're going through in the moment while
Of
they're in it. People are
negotiating and
worried, right? They're worried that somehow their spouse will catch wind of it or hear things, either use it against them or it'll affect the outcome somehow. And so I think a lot of times they want to be able to talk about it in small private forums, but not necessarily come to us with their issues while they're, waiting for an agreement to be signed.
That makes
But I
sense.
think afterwards, we all know, I mean, we know anyway, that's like when the real work starts. Like your legal team is gone, your support system is over. Now we're more important than ever because we've already taken so many steps ahead of where you might be if you just got divorced.
Right.
So supporting people through that, I think that would be easier for people to kind of open up.
That's what we're looking for.
Not when they're in a divorce negotiation.
I think those people could potentially be your best clients and people for the workshops too. It's like thriving post-divorce. I know that's one of, like, there's the pre-divorce, there's the in the thick of it, and then there's the post, and we kind of map that out. And I think these people are the ones that are like, all right, I'm ready to kind of start over fresh. And now these are
where do
the
I
two,
even begin?
these are you're the first two like people that they link arms with and go, okay, now we're marching forward with these new. It's like your post-divorce life consultancy is what it is. So
I like that.
that
Linking
is
arms and
something
marching forward. That's like
there
very
can,
like dun, dun, dun.
yeah, and there can be an offer associated with that makes sense. And it's like you're the turn the page people. And it's like, all right, now let us help you. We've mapped out the different phases of what you've experienced. You're through that. And now here's exactly where you're at. Here's what we need to do to move forward and really have a successful post-divorce transition, post-divorce life. Jessica, how you feel about this?
I think that it sounds really good. I was actually just taking some notes right now while you were talking about that. No, and I think also like one thing that made me think about as we were just also talking about like people sharing stuff and maybe being hesitant about certain things. Like I think we should put out like a wider call to people asking like, do you want to join us on the podcast? What are you struggling with? Get real-time feedback and real-time like productive tips and information and putting that as like a post or a story and asking and then giving people the opportunity. I think that what part of what we've been struggling with the idea of some kind of a podcast audit, obviously that's not what we would call it, but like the idea of something like that is like, where are we going to find people that are open to sharing their stories? Because we have such a sensitivity to the privacy aspect of it because of where we've come from. We're almost like leaning into the idea that people likely won't necessarily want to share and trying to really like not having found a comfortable way to find out if people are open to share. And then I wonder, like, just listening to you guys talking, like, what if we literally just posted a video like, hey, do you want to come on? We're taking, people to come
and
on
be
and
specific.
talk about, right.
Yeah. And really, I really like the idea of, okay, it's kind of like so you're divorced, now what strategy session?
What's next?
Yes.
Right.
What happens next? And really be specific with that verbiage of, okay, you've signed the papers, you've paid the bills. Now what? And you've got content that serves, because it's about your timeline, that journey. You can serve them at all different angles of their journey, but this could really be the sweet spot.
Do you think it only though? See, even when I was saying it though, I wasn't even necessarily thinking it needed to be narrowed down to people who've already been through it. I think that like there could be people out there who are okay with talking about it, who aren't going through a super acrimonious, litigious divorce, and who are just kind of like, look, this is one of the points at which we're sticking, and want feedback, even if they're going through it. I mean, the one thing to remember that we can always tell people if we're going to put out a video call for this is like, it's just audio. You don't have to use your real name. Like we're just we'll be talking to you, but it's fairly anonymous.
Yeah.
So do you feel, Adam, that the call out only has to be people who are done, or couldn't it just be like wherever you are in the process, we're
Right.
offering an opportunity to come on and get feedback live?
Honestly, now that we've like kind of talked it out, I would start with the post-divorce just because it's that specific. It'll help that person raise their hand in case they were a little bit nervous, like, wow, this is specifically for me. And then the next one is like,
okay, you're in the midst of it.
You're in the middle of it. You're
this
thinking about it.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like those sorts of shout outs. And then you can have some unique content. And honestly, you can try this out and be like, all right, what is my audience loving the most content wise? Which types of people are converting and becoming your best clients? Because you guys are still in discovery mode on that, where you'll have some people, you may be like, man, these post-divorce people are a pain in the ass. And maybe they are, maybe they're your best client. Maybe they're the ones that are just like, here's my credit card. Let's just go. Let's do this. But that's something that is yet to be discovered. So we have to actually get out there and discover it. So I would, you're right on track with, let's get some newsletter info. Let's get some social media stuff out there. When you release these episodes, sponsor it with a little intro, outro that's saying, hey, here's how you sign up if you want to be our next guest on The Price is Right, and the whole thing. So, that's what I would do. But I honestly, I would challenge you to get like 20 of these style of episodes out into the wilderness on your show and watch the conversions start to happen, because people will start to pop on your show that have listened to all of those, and they will already be sold that you're their people and that they want you to be their consultants on their post-divorce life journey or whatever. So it's going to take some reps with this. A certain percentage of those people will convert over. Like, it's a great way just to network with people and go, hey, by the way, we got this thing coming up in 2 weeks. I think you'd be a great fit. Here's a little discount kicker. And if you want to do it, then like these people will drive into the stuff that you're already offering. So,
what do you think that we need to have video? Like the woman who we met with yesterday does everything on YouTube. She just started putting videos out there initially before she started charging. And then she's like, well, I guess generally it's like $125 an hour. And now she's at a point where she's making way more than that for 40 minutes because she knows that her time is valuable and she's valuable and whatever. But she went through that journey. But she said it's really because people saw me as I'm speaking, like could almost like feel my energy as opposed to just being a voice. So do you think that those should be, I mean, no one's really watching our YouTube right now, but should we be putting stuff up on YouTube? And like, should we put up our top 10 or top 20 best podcasts up on YouTube and these to help show our credibility? Or is YouTube like just a distraction and we just stay on podcast platform?
I think for you all right now, it may be a distraction, but later on we can add it in like something like I'm live streaming on YouTube right now. All these videos will just pop up and populate on my YouTube. So that can be easy. It's very passive for me. I don't even know how many YouTube subscribers I even have. I don't even ever check it, but I think that YouTube both really show up on like Instagram and social with a lot of video content so that people are seeing your faces. They're seeing your personality shine through there quite a bit. So I think for now, I would because I know you're both limited on time. Like, let's get some offers dialed in. Let's get this audience building. Like, we've got traction with this. Let's build out that framework. Just from the standpoint of being able to monetize with your own programs, products, and services. And then we go, how do we get more people in front of our info and then run them through the process where they can eventually become a client? So fair. I think that's a good focus.
Okay. So what are our marching orders?
Marching orders, do everything, all at once.
You said.
Everything I said all at once.
All at once. Perfect.
I think look back at the previous event that you just did. How do we capitalize on like the people that attended, the tweaks that we are talking about moving forward? Probably not with this one that's in 2 weeks, but the one maybe in August or September with the promotional content alignment, getting a couple weeks of content that's going to match up with the topic of the event. And then I think like this consulting idea and then using the activation method, I think the real key with converting the podcast listeners into super fans into clients is going to be this consulting style episode with, and I would start off with the post-divorce people and dive in from there. So I think that should keep you busy for,
sure.
a couple of
We've
days.
got tons of time.
All right.
I mean,
shout out your branding and your website and all that stuff. Jessica, why don't you shout it out? TH did it earlier, so you can do
Sure.
a post show shout out.
So the platform where everything lives is xexperts.com, all spelled out, EXEXPERTS.com. Our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook the handle is all at xexperts, spelled out the same way. And the podcast title is Divorce, Etc. Divorce ETC, and you can find it on any podcast platform. We're everywhere you want to be. I feel like that was a commercial for someone a while ago.
It is. And our website.
I gave the website first.
Okay.
Yep. And we have a free newsletter that comes out every week that also, like, you'll hear first about any special offers, any of the events, everything that's going on. And you can always message us, on Instagram or anywhere else. And we do respond to stuff. And so we're here to help support anybody in any way that we can.
Yes. And you do have a great show. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And for everybody listening in, if you want to be just like TH and Jess, and as you should, make sure you go to the website, get signed up for a podcast audit, www.podcastingbusiness.school. And with that, Pod Pals, I will send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.